Hanging on a tree somewhere.
Well, this tree, it's a type of walnut,
Circassian walnut.
something like that. It's real rare, and they say they don't even find those trees anymore. You know, I mean, everything about it is. For years, he looked old. Some of the old Humphrey Bogart movies, I mean, I thought the guy was 70 years old.
He was old as you are.
I know, and I think, whatever, sometimes when I think about how old, you remember Steve Cowdery? Steve Cowdery was the guy that was a little offensive that came in front of Mama and Margie one time, made a little pass for Margie and was a little bit crude.
Steve, what did he do?
He was a doctor at the university.
Santa Barbara?
Came from Santa Barbara,
I
yeah.
remember Margie talking about it.
He died, probably a heart attack, 60 years old.
Tell Margie about it tomorrow. I think you're going up there.
That's what I heard, yeah. And I was down in Mexico with the kids, and I watched a lot of movies, and this thing about what I was telling you about making just there was a lot of philosophy in there, and I said, life is short, and you have to enjoy it. And I saw some old John Huston movies, and I thought about John Huston, and none of these guys are around anymore. And it wasn't that long ago, and everybody I knew as a kid.
Well, it wasn't long ago when Tom Mix was here because I knew him as a kid.
Yeah.
I talked to a fellow the other day that had shaken hands with Tom Mix. Said he was a little man.
Well, I saw East of Eden on television the other day, and I'll be truthful, James Dean looked like he was 5'3" or 5'4".
James who?
James Dean. Remember the guy that was killed in
Oh,
his
yeah.
Porsche? That was in East of Eden? He was a little tiny guy. He had a high squeaky voice. How they ever identified with him, I don't know. I mean, I look at him and I thought, wow, he'd even make Robert Redford and some of these guys look tall, that are the little men. I mean, he's a little tiny guy. They had him fighting with people and he's swinging up, and they tried to cast him. And the girls were about his height, and I knew them. They were little women. I don't know.
Well, but I see Charles Lawton once in a while. And Jessica, no.
Jessica Lange?
No,
Jessica Tandy.
no, Langsford, the one that's
yeah.
Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah.
Uh,
Of course, she just looks beautiful for her age. She was
when
considered.
she's about 66 or 8. But when she was an ingenue doing a part when, what did I just say, is,
Murder, She Wrote?
no, Mutiny on the Bounty.
Was she in Mutiny on the Bounty?
No, who was the male?
Oh, Charles Lawton.
Charles Lawton was King Henry VIII, and
Yeah.
she was one of his little wives.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, I'm 10 years older than she is.
Yeah.
And there's a fellow where we eat that's 68. He's on his 3rd pacemaker, and he acts like a sloth. You see pictures of him when
I know.
someone's chewing
You
on
pointed out. You pointed him out to me the other day when we were back there.
Scares you to death.
Well, I was down there in Mexico. I was thinking about that. I bought Dina. Dina was supposed to go too, and Dina decided at the last minute she couldn't go. And I bought Dina's ticket, and they were going to reimburse me, and it was non-refundable. So Kim said, "Why don't you take my roommate for next year? She's broke and she's down here, but if you can't refund the ticket, what are you going to do with it anyway?" I even tried to write a medical excuse, and they wouldn't accept it because it was a charter. So I said, "Okay, I'll take your roommate." So I took Anna down, and Anna's from Norway, and her dad is Under Secretary of State of Norway. She went to a private school in England, and they can't afford a ticket to go to $275. And of course, Garbuses don't want to pay me for it now because Anna should pay for it, and they weren't going to pay for it if I couldn't get the refund anyway, probably, because why couldn't I get the refund? But they didn't want the ticket, and they didn't want to deal with it. These are the lessons you learn where you're doing everybody a favor, taking care of Kim. But I took Anna down, and her dad's got arthritis. He's had hip replacement. He 50. He's only 53 now. At 50, he had a tumor of the kidney. which they found. They operated on him. He was in the hospital for a year because he got complications. She said he doesn't do anything. See, they're shocked. I go out, I swim with him, I go, you know, they just can't get over it. It's like, you can't be a dad. You know, you're not a dad. You're, you know, I mean, you dance, you do all this, you know.
Grandpa down.
Yeah. and so it's really funny to hear them talk, and I'm sitting there thinking about it, and I said, gosh, how lucky can I be? And
we were looking at the statistical anomalies, though. At home, I'm close to the median of people who die in age. Means half are younger than me and half are older. If you average them, and some 2-year-old dies, it throws a big stick in the averages.
Mm-hmm.
But you go by the median, I'm close to the median. There's many people older than me almost that die as there are younger than me. Now, not every day. It takes a while to get a statistical sample.
Well, I thought you were way above. I would have guessed it. Well, the other thing is that's fine. Remember when we were talking about the statistics, and I said they give the statistic when you die? When I said Humphrey Bogart died at 57, so I'm saying at 55 he had no quality of life.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like they give the age, they would say Mom died at
June 20th, 91.
Right, okay. But from 85 on,
Well, she had good quality up until that winter out here on the coast was good for Mama.
good year. But you know, look at the debilitation that most people go through for 5 years.
Well,
Look at
poor
the
little Mama did, Bruce. I'm under the impression there's so many chemicals. Although I've read the word tamoxifen 100 times since Mama was on it.
well, the tamoxifen is all they say does it. Do you know that that statistically is the only thing that's increasing life expectancy is the tamoxifen? Outside of that, none of the others seem to make any difference. Radiation is considered to be a complete zero. The other chemotherapy is considered to be questionable. Tamoxifen is the only one.
Mama lived almost a year from her first seizure.
Yeah, but
No, almost 2 years.
yeah, she lived a year out of the hospital, a year in the hospital, and her statistics were 3 months, possibly 6 months with the radiation. But she got she got the radiation side effects because she lived so long.
Can you reach that, Gilbert?
Yeah. In other words, she wasn't supposed to live.
There's a button on it you gotta push.
No, it just
Hello,
Push the button.
it comes on automatically.
Oh,
Patrick. Is there a Patrick here? Does anybody go by
No.
Patrick?
no, let me talk to them.
No, you have the wrong.
No, they don't have.
It's
their
Arthur's
own-
friend.
Okay, just a minute. Wait a minute.
It's Arthur's friend. Let's
I
friend took him
left,
somewhere.
I'm Arthur's grandfather. Now, I left here about 3, and Patrick,
And
well,
you are going to get any effect, but you know, again, no one lives a year.
who knows?
No one lives a year with that much
You know,
radiation.
it's horrible, Bruce, to think of the thoughts that go through my mind, and you voiced one of them. First of all, you thought perhaps when Mama had that last seizure that she went, what's the word?
I don't know.
Catatonic.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have let through that seizure.
We told them on the phone not to do it.
Well, I don't think they did much for her.
Yeah, I checked. They gave her dopamine and they gave her all the drugs to keep her pressure up. I went through the chart. They went after her very aggressively. But I mean, you know, so what? You know, I mean,
Yeah. Well, she had some fun after that, but damn little Bruce.
yeah.
And you know, you can say whatever you please, but Mama was a proud woman. Mama was rather remote. She wasn't a warm, giddy, loving person. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
The humiliation of her being handled by all the orderlies and being totally dependent on me was something that Mama shouldn't have been subjected
But it didn't seem to bother her.
to. I'm not sure.
I think the other facilities go to where you don't, you know, where that changes for you. You can't even compare the person that she was 5 years before that. and then
Well,
that.
she seemed to accept it quite well, Brucey, but she never gave up hope till maybe a month, 6 weeks before she died. Because she'd have me, Janet gave me a list of exercises.
Oh yeah, exercise for her legs. I remember that.
to come out and exercise my legs so I can walk. I go out and exercise her legs. And Bruce, I get her foot up on the bed and turn loose, flop. It just, I couldn't balance her knee up. God damn, that hurts, Bruce. The person who's proud and that you respect and admired like I did, Mom, it lets those things happen hurt.
Yeah, I know it does. Well, I guess I'm too close to it, but I came back from Mexico, you know, I just said, hey. And the other thing is I came to the conclusion I'm going to want to work. So, and I definitely don't want to leave this job that I've got. I mean, the job I've got now is the best job in California, you know, I mean, I wouldn't leave this job.
How old are you?
51.
How many times have I told you what to do the last 30 years?
All the time.
Yeah.
Do what I want to do. No. So I really feel like I'm going to just enjoy myself. And, you know, Gene got this deal on this boat, found this boat. I said, Gene, if you buy 2/3 of it, I'll buy 1/3. I said, because, and you have to do 2/3 of the upkeep, and you have to do all the maintenance. And he said, okay, because I love this boat. Because I said, I don't love it as much as you do. And I'll just be an occasional user. And I may use it more than he does, because, you know, it has, rather than ours, this one has a full-size ice box with a freezer in it. It's a little fancier than the boat we had.
Okay.
And it's got...
What model was that boat we were in?
That was a Grand Banks.
No, what year?
That was about a 76. This is an 83. I know. I mean, he said the autopilot and the radar and all the stuff on it was the price. And the guy had gone through the engines. But you know something? What happened?
Now, yours only had that one we were in. That trawler only had one engine.
No, it had dual engines.
Did?
That's how Gene could turn it into there. It had 2 Ford Lehman engines.
That's right. That's right. You had 2 throttles.
Yeah. This has the same thing. Same setup. The only difference is this has a teak parquet floor in the floor.
Where?
In the main cabin.
But not on the
And
catwalks.
on the catwalks is all teak.
Well, that one that we rented was
Teak.
teak.
And then fiberglass and then teak rails. Identical to that. The only difference in this one is, you know, in the back where you sleep, they, rather than having the main cabin up so high, they drop it down about 2 feet. So you kind of just, you don't walk down these 2 holes, and you get a lot less wind across it. And the door at the side is a sharp door to get out.
Well, you mean like our back door?
Yeah.
Well, where we were,
Now the back door is,
no, there was no back door.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
but you had to climb up. This is just a sharp door. Now the back door on this is like a patio door. It opens up, and then this is dropped down, and you've got a patio.
Okay.
And it's a nice boat. I mean, they started out selling it at $85,000 was what it started listing at. Then came down, fell out of escrow 2 or 3 times, and the guy was in a real bind. And what we ended up doing was paying off the note. We paid off the note, and rather than paying a 10% commission, the guy that was selling it went down to 6% commission to get rid of the boat. So we paid, because he said he'd
Of course, those aren't
high demand boats.
exciting. It's just a putt-putt. But it'll
They had-
putt-putt anywhere.
They had 8 trawlers for sale at this place where we bought it. It had 8 trawlers for sale and sold 1 in 3 years.
That's what I say.
1 month after we bought ours, they all sold.
I'll be damned. But they're not what you call, they don't have a fancy name. They're not a trimaran
Yeah.
and you can't get them up on the step and fly around in them. They're putt-putts.
Well, this boat had been to Mexico before and back.
Wasn't it beautiful, that trip up in
Oh, one of the best trips. We may take this boat up and leave it at Squib.
I'll be darned.
You know, I put $50 deposit down up there
On a dock.
on a slip, because it takes 5-6 years to get your name up. And so everybody kept saying, well, why are you doing it? I said, well, in 5 or 6 years,
It might be different.
yeah, I mean, and I told Gene, and Gene said, I'd love to be up there. And I said, well, why would we want to have a house up here? Why not put a trawler up here? We could live on the trawler if we come up, one of us comes up, and we could motor around this area. Why would you want anything more than that? I mean, what a...
You sell your lots?
You know what the tax bill is on that lot now? $56,000. I just talked to
You
real
mean the tax appraisal?
appraisal. The last one that sold, similar to mine, was $65,000. I paid $16,000 for that lot.
You made some nice buys in real estate.
Well, the lot I told you I sold for 15, didn't you? I paid $3 for that lot, and I held it a year.
You could buy one in Murfreesboro for $3,000 and hold it a year and sell it for $2,500.
That isn't in the Napa Valley.
I know.
Or the headwaters of it. It's what it is. You got Napa Valley, and then you got one other valley, and then you've got Lake County. There's a golf course in
It's
it.
on Calistoga, that lake.
No, it's just north of Calistoga. You go out of Calistoga and you go through some
What's
wine.
that big lake up there?
Clear Lake.
Clear Lake.
Yeah, it's between Calistoga and Clear Lake.
Okay.
And it's a golf course, and there's no more golf courses going in California.
All right.
The expense and getting it approved. Do you know what it cost to get? The people bought my land, and they said they spent $250,000 trying to get a permit to put a golf course in Chico. Still couldn't get it in, with the land purchased and everything.
They're crazy out here.
They're crazy. They wanted to put in. They bought 200.
Do they relate that to the drop in real estate prices?
No, they keep saying it's going to drive the real estate prices up because it costs so much to build. You have $25,000 usually in a lot, they say now in the Napa Valley, by the time you get through your permits.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, but if you're picking lots up for $3,000 that are
No,
developed
well,
with the
that's
streets.
better.
Yeah.
That,
My only complaint on these lots is I have to pay $100 a year for the,
mowing.
well, no, because it's a private gate, you know, for all the services. And it's the same if you have a house or a lot. So I've got this.
But that trawler ought to be a beaut. How long is it? 40? One we got was
42. It's 2 feet shorter than that one.
boy,
But the hull is that thick. This is the thickest hull they make on a trawler.
this is all fiber.
All fiberglass. Everything's fiberglass, and then you have your teak wood on the top. And the guys bought it as a 5-way partnership. 5 guys went in and bought it. Paid about $120,000 for it. About 3.5 years ago. And one of the guys took it on what they call certification. Theoretically, it's not supposed to be taxed. It's certified because it's going to be used at sea and everything. Didn't include the other 4 partners, and they were suing him.
Don't you have title to boats?
Yeah, well, he's certified only in his name, rather than the other.
Well, what does that mean?
I don't know, but it ended up in a suit. So he said, "The hell with you! I'm just going to sell it. Use any fuel? You can just put them on one engine. And, yeah, you can go out through the gates. You can go all the way down to Mexico, and they don't buck. I mean, the waves hit them, and they just. This thing weighs. I think Gene said 15,000 pounds more than ours, because it's a heavier built boat. It's got a thicker hull. It's a heavier built boat than the one we had.
Yeah, what did we were out 6 or 7 days, used 200 and some gallons of fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you get down to, you could tank in enough to get down to.
We've got 700 gallons of fuel capacity on this boat.
You would, if you went on one motor, you wouldn't use over a gallon or 2 gallons, 3 gallons an hour.
Yeah. Did in my life. I went down there and bought that. Originally I bought a studio, which had 2 beds and a little kitchen and a bathroom, and Judy said she wouldn't go down and stay in a studio. Even though it's considered to be better than a Hilton, it's 5-star, that wasn't adequate. So I went down and upgraded to a 1-bedroom. And I went from a summer winter to 2 winter weeks. And I went down and offered to wire the money to them, and they sold it. They made the upgrade for $5,000. And they want $3,500 just to go winter to winter, because the winter weeks is what everybody wants. No one wants to be in this. They can't give the summertime away anyway. So I cut this. So I ended up with a total of $19,000. I did this in December. When I was down there with Kim the last time, they offered me $25,000 for it. They're now selling that for $35,000. They're running out of units now.
When Mom and I were in Spain,
He said that I bought mine before Christmas. He said for some reason at Christmas everything went, and so they started jumping the prices up. They've been going up about, he said, 10 to 12% every 3 weeks when they meet. That they're pricing them at, because now they're running out of units. You know, before, what are we going to do with these units? We're stuck. We're in the middle of a recession. We can't give them away.
what year did you buy them?
I'm talking about December of '91.
Wait a minute, you and Judy were divorced already.
I took Judy down there after we were divorced. We went down the week before the Christmas holidays.
No, I think about Mom, I still get upset.
Well, it's normal.